Welcome to the Health Made Easy podcast. Health advice so easy, you'll feel more confident about your body, health, and life. And now, your host, Dr. Connie Jean.
So today I want to really talk about the root cause of all diseases. I, for one, as you know, live with lupus, and I know many of you who are watching this have lupus or other autoimmune diseases. And some of you who are my patients have other conditions like diabetes or heart disease or high cholesterol, or even in some cases, cancer. We know that many diseases can also coexist, right? And one in particular I'm going to talk about in reference to lupus today, because lupus or other conditions can mimic so many other diseases or symptoms in its manifestations. I've worked to really understand the root cause specifically for lupus, and in the process found that most of the diseases we codify and name in medicine are all at the root of mitochondrial dysfunction. How they manifest are then codified and treated with medications to suppress the very symptom manifestations while never really understanding or questioning the cause. The basis for medicine or medication is to treat the disease. Once you have the disease, they treat the disease, and in most cases, lupus as a diagnosis becomes something that doesn't get refuted as a dysfunction that can be reversed. So while I have been diagnosed with lupus, I choose to address the underlying cause of my systemic dysfunction so that I can modify my lifestyle to improve and reverse not only lupus, but restore optimal health. So let me discuss a little bit more about mitochondrial dysfunction. Mitochondria, which are found in every cell, is where the energy is produced in our bodies. It's able to convert food and transform it into energy through a very complex biochemical process, which much like combustion of fuels in a car for power. And understanding the fundamental structure, integrity, and function at the molecular level will allow us to understand exactly where the dysfunction lies, to address it at the root so that we can restore function in our body. For you, I feel this understanding will empower you to know that you are in control over the function of your body and health, which means it can be restored again. So mitochondria are known as the powerhouses of the cell. We're made up of our cells, and we're only as good as the health of our cells, right? So mitochondria are basically organelles that act like a digestive system which takes in nutrients, breaks down, and then creates energy for the cell. The membrane of the mitochondria is very important in regulating what enters and exits the cells, and it's where the hydrogen ion activity produces ATP. I know it's a little bit more complicated, but this is where energy in our muscles and organs and our brain are produced. So inside the mitochondria is what we refer to as the matrix. If the inner membrane of the mitochondria, referred to as the cristae, is damaged, research proves that this leads to the beginning of Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and a host of other diseases, like lupus as well. And to put into perspective, 10% of your body is mitochondria, which generates and consumes your body weight in ATP every day. So if you are 200 pounds, for example, 20 pounds of that is mitochondria. And that mitochondria is able to generate 200 pounds of ATP per day to support your body. This is a powerhouse that you want running efficiently. So let's talk a little bit about the functions of the mitochondria. Mitochondria is in our heart, liver, kidneys, ovaries, and most importantly, in our brain. And it's responsible for cell signaling, homeostasis in the body, and various biochemical pathways. And mitochondria uses oxygen, and its fuel is our food. So when we eat, food digestion begins in our mouth, and once it's broken down in our gut, it enters the small intestine where all the cellular exchange occurs. This food exchange into elemental energy can require lots of energy and produce lots of free radical damage as a result. And we need enough molecules such as carbons, hydrogen, and oxygen from our food to convert it into fuel for our body so that it can use for energy. The process is too complex to discuss here. The point being is that we need water, air, micronutrients, and phytonutrients to drive this combustion forward without damage, which is key. And nutritional deficiency over time will cause mitochondrial deficiency. And mitochondrial deficiency can lead to dysfunction, which leads to diseases like autoimmune, cancer, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, diabetes, and heart disease. And if the nutrients in the mitochondria are not sufficient, then we will have damage in the body from the combustion, resulting in DNA fragments, such as debris that needs to be engulfed and digested through a process called autophagy, which is cell death. But if the fragments are not cleared, our immune system will be on overdrive, leading to an autoimmune condition due to the adaptive immune response to such damages. Does this all make sense? So when there is mitochondrial dysfunction, it can manifest in the kidneys as proteinuria, for example, as many of us, I've had proteinuria and nephrotic syndrome as a result. And as there's not enough energy to bring the protein back into the body is why we get proteinuria in the kidneys. And our body is a complex, self-adapting system, and we need to be vigilant in supporting it at the molecular level to impact our health. And adding medications really leads to further dysfunction and other secondary symptoms that are not favorable. So let's talk about the causes of mitochondrial dysfunction. One of them is oxidative stress. It's too much damaging particles in the body from toxins in the foods and the environment. And it's when we eat too much food. And when we eat too much food that is high in glycemic load. And when we take in too much fat, like trans fatty acids like fried foods and French fries and such, and environmental toxins that we're exposed of on a daily basis, and micronutrient deficiencies, because it needs that to convert to its molecular energy, right? So remember this, micronutrient deficiency, I'll hang here for a minute. This is because we have leaky gut. We're not able to absorb all the micronutrients from the food, is why we have micronutrient deficiency. And most of us do walk around with micronutrient deficiency. And this is proven by the study by Dr. Bruce Ames. And we know this to be a fact. In fact, it exists all over the world. So think of your body as a combustion energy that becomes inefficient due to too much bad fuel, and it begins to smoke toxins if the causes I mentioned becomes too much of a burden in the body. Oxidative stress can lead to the following, ultimately resulting in disease. It can lead to damaged DNA, damaged fats, which is oxidation of fats, specifically LDLs. Those are the lipoprotein particles that are very damaging. And damaged sugars, which raises hemoglobin A1C when your cells become riddled with sugar, causing mitochondrial stress. It can cause damaged protein, which are the building blocks of our cells. So this is very detrimental. And as I mentioned, micronutrient deficiency, which can cause the combustion to be inefficient as the system can't go forward. Rather, things get backed up and further break, affecting the abilities of our bodies to produce energy. Some key organic pollutants can also alter our mitochondrial efficiency. Some of them include acetaminophen, aspirin, statins, antibiotics, chemo agents, metformin, tamoxifen, valproic acid, prednisone, all the medications that we take. Next is reactive oxygen species, which is smoke and soot in our system. This is what it causes as a result of too much combustion. And mitochondrial dysfunction is a vicious cycle because it increases oxidative production in our body, which also declines our immune function, which then causes accumulation of oxidative products. And then it's just a feed-forward cycle this way. So remember, we have over 100,000 oxidative attacks to our cells per day. So as lupus or autoimmune or cancer patients or diabetic patients, we have a mitochondrial dysfunction. Below are some diseases associated with mitochondrial dysfunction at the root. Cognitive decline and impairment, dementia and Alzheimer's, diabetes and obesity, cancer, MS, restless leg, neuropathy, fibromyalgia, lupus, autoimmune, stroke, mood disorders, and multiple chemical sensitivities. So there's a good reason why you're tired and struggle with foggy brain. The brain is uniquely vulnerable to oxidative damage. There's fewer mitochondria in the brain as opposed to the heart, for example, by a factor of 10. The brain consumes more energy than any other organ on a daily basis. And neuronal tissue in the brain is the first to be affected by such diseases. This is because it has a low tolerance for low oxygen states, and it's got small deficits that have high impacts, and it's sensitive to oxidative damage, which can cause cognitive dysfunction. And I can assure you that we can restore the health of our cells to optimal or ultimately reach homeostasis in our body so that our body can take over the healing process. But we must help it to do that. So how do we do that? Number one is take a lot of antioxidants and phytonutrients, which these compounds are in vegetables and fruits. But because fruits have fructose, which can produce oxidative stress in our body, we need to be careful of how much. So focus on eating rainbow of vegetables, meaning you eat a variety of colors and eat vegetables that are in season and local. Very simple. Just follow the laws of nature. Secondly, caloric restriction. So 12-hour fasts from dinner to breakfast on a daily basis and work up to 15 hours to allow for regeneration to decrease oxidative load to our bodies. Exercise. Walking, jogging, yoga, and strength training will help with mitochondrial density by up to 67% and improve insulin sensitivity. Number 4 is Epsom salt bath, hot enough to make you sweat. Hydrate, simply drink a lot of water. And 6, work on getting enough sleep every night. And 7, take probiotics, diverse strains, fish oil, curcumin, lipoic acid, and CoQ10. And drink green tea for polyphenols, which are antioxidative. Number 8, avoid alcohol and toxic foods like processed foods. I hope this was helpful for you in better understanding the root cause of our disease. Please share this with anyone who would benefit from it. Also, follow us on our social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and sign up for our newsletter on lupusrebel.com, conniejeon.com, or alkalinewellness.com. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening to the Health Made Easy podcast. www.drconniejeon.com